Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Verde Beach. And in the previous episode, we were building Sterling Estates for Karen Sterling. And what you'll notice is there are a lot of issues here with residential development filling in, and there's a good reason for this. Let's take a look. Garbage everywhere. And this is something that we're going to need to take care of today. This is the main reason why we're seeing no residential demand outside of the fact that there's been a ton zoned. And that brings us back to the Myrtle family. In specific, Maggie Myrtle. She is the great-granddaughter of the original owners of the Myrtle farm, and she's the one who purchased this land. And there's something different about her. Unlike Karen Sterling, who looked at this land and said, this is where I make my dream neighborhood. Maggie is looking at this and thinking, I want to raise enough money to buy the land that is going to be exactly what I want it to be. And so as a result of that, she's going to be looking at this and doing some very utilitarian things here, fulfilling needs of the city, even if that feels like an affront to Karen, who has spent an incredible amount of time building the neighborhood that she wants. So we are not going to focus exclusively on developing this. In fact, we're not done with Sterling Estates or the industrial park, or the office park right here. So we are going to continue to work on this and fill some things in as needs arise. The very first thing I want to do is rename this. And one of the things that I saw that I really liked, one of the naming ideas, was Sterling Heights. I thought that was a great name, and we also had some suggestions for the park, and I like Silver Lake. It was mentioned. I think it does tie in very well to her name. So we're gonna do more work here today. We've got a lot of work to do, but we need to remedy this garbage issue before we cover the entire neighborhood and trash and pollute it. So I'm going to pause this for just a moment so we can take a look around the city, because I want to show you the trash problem. So when we zoom in, we can see that there are trash issues all over the city right now. And this has happened because we have added one of the largest neighborhoods in the city. And so we've already got 8,000 population here, which I know from clicking around the map is one of the largest neighborhoods in the city. And it's predominantly single family, and it's mostly spread out. So this is going to create problems, and it's going to be difficult to serve this area, which is one of the critiques of this development pattern that I gave in the previous episode. So before we can get into any detailing or decorating in this neighborhood, before this neighborhood fills in, we need to come up with a trash collection solution. So knowing that there's a problem here, Maggie Myrtle has offered up some of the land to the city. Of course, it's going to come at a cost, but they're happy because she wants to annex this in. And that was a problem with this neighborhood. This is not in Verde Beach. That's unfortunate. That's a loss of tax collection. That's a loss of connectivity and connection to city services. It makes things more difficult in the long run. So they are thrilled to have this annexed in to Verde Beach. So this land right here, Verde Beach. So let's go and think about what she's looking at doing. So we've got a couple of problems here. First of all, we've got a lot of backup. This is causing issues. Maybe the very first thing that we're going to do is deal with this. And then secondly, we need local connectivity to Verde Beach. And I think we have a nice connection. It's already laid out for us. So let's take a look at this. Actually, I'm gonna take a step back. We are going to build the local connectivity first. And the main reason for that is we won't have to pause the game to reconfigure this if we have that local connectivity. So we're going to go into our terrain view, and we're going to call a bit of a mulligan right here on some of this commercial development. And what we're going to do is stub in a connection right here. So I know that there's a couple of problems here. First of all, Heather Avenue, where it meets up here with Soban, it's a one-lane road, so everything is being forced here. There's stoplights. I think we should do a little bit of traffic management real quick. So this is clearly a priority road, as is this. And I'm just thinking about the way that these roads are being used. So I just want to make sure that we are prioritizing movements on this road to hopefully get all of that traffic through this area quickly. So we're just going to do a little bit of really basic traffic management, making sure that we don't have unwarranted intersections, or signals rather. And then adding stop signs to add that priority of movement. So we're in a good spot there now. Wow, this is a long stretch without any local connectivity. It would have been nice to have a local connection here. That's probably something that the planners would be looking at going, wow, it'd be really ideal to have a connection here, because this is a big area where you can walk but you can't drive, which means that you can't provide city services. So to get back here, you got to take this local road. That's unfortunate, but we're not going to fix it. It is the situation that we have. So that traffic's got to come around here. All right. So we've got that connection made. That is helpful, but we need some local connectivity, and we're going to develop some facilities that are going to be very helpful to the city that Karen's not going to like all that much. So first of all, I want to level out some land here, and we're going to do a little bit of terraforming. I've got this stubbed here, and I'm going to switch over to the other side. So there is a connection here of Semper Verde. We're going to get that to go over here. Semper Verde is going to continue. So let's go over here and figure out, we want to take this height and bring it over here. Now, so we're going to take the bridge here, and we're going to use our terrain and bring this right up the side. We need this soil, so I'm okay taking some liberties here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at our terrain, and here's where our bridge is going to connect in. So there will be a turn in the bridge. There we go. Nice connection. We will focus more on the traffic control here in just a moment. I don't know that this is actually going to be functioning as a collector, so that control is probably okay in that location. So we're going to bring this up and make our connection way over to here. So that's going to be our next step. So I do want to focus on the terrain here for just a moment. And what we're going to do is pull this over. There are a few things we're going to be doing in this area. I think it's going to be important that we plan for this up front. So this is a unique opportunity where we could reactivate an old rail line, and we're going to absolutely do that when we are focusing on this area. So I'm trying to find a good way to come up here, and I don't want to completely close off this area. So what I think we're going to do is send the road out at an angle like this. There's a reason for all of this. There's a method for this madness, and I will explain that in just a moment. For the time being, I just want to make sure that this is a nice clean connection. I'm out of soil, which is going to be a recurring theme here, and a reason that we might need to create some sort of mining operation at some point in time. The problem is, like I mentioned, Maggie is going to be looking at this and coming at this from a really utilitarian point of view. She's going to allow uses that are needed, and if they're not needed, she's not going to care about it. So we're going to take a look at what is available over here, and I think you're going to be surprised. Okay, so now we have our path. Let's get this road down. I think we're going to clean this up just a bit. Make sure that our angle's nice. There we go. And then we'll make our connection here. Now, I have a feeling that this road, day one, is going to have some pretty intense utilization. There we go. We got a nice connection there. We do have some work to do here, and we've got some issues with our terrain heights here. In fact, we might need to pull this back. And then we're going to try to meet up with that road. I would love to have a bit more soil to fill some of this in. We don't have it. I'm going to pause this for just a moment while we take this back. We are going to bring this through and then curve it right away. There we go. Nice connection. This is going to be very useful for the city. So when you see this connection is something that Karen Sterling would be very excited about. This provides a connection to the Lewis Lumber Company. This is one of the oldest roads in the city, Semper Verde, and it is very valuable. Let's take a look. Look at that. We've already got a ton of trucks and private vehicles using this road. This is a valuable connection. And you can see it's going right into this neighborhood. I mean, that is exactly what we need. Sometimes what you need is not what you want. And that is certainly the situation we're in this particular area. So again, we've got soil issues. We're going to continue to take soil from the nearby area and use it to fix some of these areas that we have here. So one of the things I think we could do is take a bit of soil from here. And let's clean this up just a bit. And this is not perfect, but I think it's a lot better. I will get some of the rest of this once we have a little bit more availability of soil. So I know that this is going to be a very important connection for our rail network. Karen is receiving city assistance in the form of TIF. She is not needing to pay as much on her taxes to develop some of these things for the benefit of the city. She'll have to pay the taxes eventually, and the way that tax increment financing works, you end up paying over time. But right now, she'll get a discount so that she'll pay a reduced amount for her taxes so that this stuff actually gets developed. So it's a good deal for the city and a good deal for Maggie because she wants to be able to develop these things, but maybe can't afford the cost of doing so after factoring in the improvement value. So what we're going to do here is just create another interchange, and we're going to add another cargo connection and then a facility over here for trash collection. I don't want to ruin this. This is the history of the area, and this is something that is part of the agreement for TIF. She has agreed to maintain so that the city can still look back at its history and maybe turn it into a museum in the future. And then we're going to bridge over here. This is going to be a long bridge. I'd love to have some soil to work this up. We might do that at some point. But again, we are in a limited situation with our soil availability. And we're just going to make a simple diamond over here. Let's pull this down. We'll go 12. Again, 12. Try to mirror this over here, and I'm curious. I'm going to pull this down another 10 before we merge in, and we see that we have one tile there. So that helps me figure out how far this needs to be, and I can see already that that's not far enough away. So that's not quite perfect, but I think for my purposes, I'm probably okay enough with that. So one thing I like to do with these, I want to make sure it's completely straight all the way around. Actually, that power line fits nicely through there. That's great. We're going to go 200 over, and I'm going to draw a line. I'll do the exact same thing over here, 200. And that's where I want my ramp to be. So I'm going to actually back these out now. I'm just using these guides. So I had about a 45-degree angle. We'll come over here and mirror that. And then I'll use this guide over here to meet up. And we've got some perfect connections. And we can upgrade all of these and get it going. Perfect. So now we have a nice highway connection here. This is going to be very valuable because now that we have this connection and this one, we can fix this. So this has been a mess. I know that this was pointed out in the comments that I rotated this around the wrong way. I did. It wasn't my finest moment, but we're going to get that fixed. So let's remedy this right now. And what I'm going to do is we're just going to close this off. You can still get anywhere down here by taking surface streets now, which is something you didn't really have the luxury of doing before. And this is going to be very important for fixing our situation with trash collection. So I don't know that I've pointed this out, but our capacity is actually pretty darn good right now. So if we take a look Well, not good. So actually, we're going to leave this disconnected for a moment, and we are going to focus on this capacity issue. So why don't we go ahead? There are a couple of things I know I want to have over here. So we are going to have this cargo train, and we're going to use that to figure out exactly where everything else should go. And this was seen as a need for the city, so it was part of that agreement for tax increment financing. So we've got some grades out here, and that is problematic. We're going to need to bring some more fill-in over here. Let's see where we can get it from. So since she owns all of this, she's okay pushing dirt around. And eventually, she knows that she wants to have a connection up here. She's been working to get approvals for this. She's got them. So we're going to go ahead and take some soil here. Even though she's not going to build that road anytime soon, it's a place where she can get the soil that she needs to build what she's building right now. So there is some significant terracing happening here. And that's going to be a part of this area. It's very hilly. We're going to have to deal with a little bit of topography disrespect just to get this area built. That's okay. It could be worse. And look at the congestion and backup that we're seeing here as our highway is disconnected. In fact, that's not really reasonable. We're just going to fix this temporarily. At least people can get through now. So we're not going to inadvertently kill the city. So, okay, we're going to have another connection through here. And we want to make this taper down just a bit. So lots of earthwork this episode. Lots of earthwork. Okay, so the main purpose of this was to provide a place to build a garbage facility. And we're going to be building 2 of them. But because we have problems all over the city, we're going to need a really significant amount of new capacity. So we're going to build one here. I might need to back this off the road a little bit more for the sake of terrain. Calling a mulligan and moving it back. So this, yeah, there's some ugly lumpies and bumpies. We'll do the best we can with that. But we might as well finish up placement of some of these buildings over here. So I know for sure we want a waste transfer facility. And we are also going to want a recycling center. Or 2. Now, road guidelines are getting right in the way. So this is where I want to have that connection. And then we'll add another connection through here. Lots of redundancy. We want to try to move this traffic around if we can. Those aren't going to line up quite perfectly. So it's looking pretty bad right now. Pretty ugly. But we can get this fixed. Now this facility we are going to relocate. I don't... Actually, no, it's fine. We'll leave it. I was on the edge. Just because of the terrain heights, I'm not sure just how reasonable it is that this is placed in this spot, but it looks like where you would enter the facility, it is fairly even, so I think that we will accept this here. Okay, so we're going to have to hide some things with terrain modifications, but that's okay. Let's get some water pipes in here. And then we need power back here as well. Okay, so let's make our train connection, because that's certainly an issue. And look at all of this backup. It is absolutely incredible. And now I do want to do just a little bit of decorating here. Not a lot, but we're going to be coming back to this in a bit. So I'll just do a little bit so that if I do end up getting distracted, I don't have to look at this. So I will tell you right off the bat that this road is functioning as an arterial. This is an arterial or a collector. This will improve with time, but right now it's really messed up. So something to keep in mind, we're going to make this a priority road, and then I want to rename it. So the main thing here is there are a couple of junctions that we're just not going to cause, or we're not going to allow to have those sorts of signals on. And of course, it brought the name Semper Verde Bridge all the way down. So we will just bring Semper Verde, which is now clearly the longest road in the entire city. We'll connect that up to Olive Boulevard. We've got to do some naming through here, but we're not there just yet. So look at all the traffic that this is carrying. It is wild. I'm curious where this is going. Obviously, this traffic pattern is going to change. Yeah, but a lot of it's coming straight down here into the center of this neighborhood. Not surprising. And now that we have this, obviously a very heavy movement here as well. So let's get our next junction created. And I think we've already got our rail bridge here. That's probably not all that realistic, but we're gonna stick with it because it's already built. What's even more unrealistic than the bridge existing is to reconstruct it. So I'm going to pause this again, and we're going to take it down. So we're going to have intermittent power issues here. So what I'm going to do is just add a temporary power line going down here as I rebuild everything, because it's going to be a problem. And I know that, so I might as well just do something up front to take care of that. That should remedy it. We get power back here. Yeah, we're good. All right, so we're going to design our new interchange here, and there are a couple different things we could do. What I'm thinking I might want to go with, though, is a Parclo. Just seems like this would be a natural place for it. I don't want to do a full clover leaf. We have a little bit of relief, and I want to preserve land for future development. So what we're going to do is add a connection over here. I'm going to do everything in dirt roads. And I'm going to try to mirror everything on both sides. So go up 10 here and 10 here. And a Parclo is a partial clover leaf, if you're unaware. I know that is something that I've been asked a number of times, and I forget to define it. So this is 300 across. So that means that we're at 15. So 7 would be our halfway point, or 150, which we don't have. 300, yeah. So I think we're going to use that as our halfway. So I have that there as a guide. At least now we can go up. This is, let's see. That is 7. So now when we're creating our angle, we can go up approximately 7. In fact, if we don't want to be approximate, we use our freeform tool and turn on our road guidelines, and then we'll get perfectly 7. And I want to pull this back around. Now these aren't going to be perfectly mirrored. It looks like our distance here is a little bit longer. I don't know if that's worth fixing. I'm thinking it's probably not. So one of the things to keep in mind is you can kind of see that there's an angle right here where these are about the same. You see that on Parclo. So that's what we're going to do. And then I want to also mirror this other side. So there are a couple ways I could do this. What I think I'm going to do, I'm going to disconnect this little segment here, and then we're going to mirror the connections and then pull it up here. Actually, I might take a step back from that. So I just want this to be a nice clean connection, and I don't want to have two roads coming up here. So what I'm going to do is we'll get rid of this, and this is a little bit tougher in vanilla, but we're gonna make do with what we can, what we have. Yeah, that's not gonna work. So we're gonna need to take this a step back. What I want to do is have a place where these can merge up gently, and that angle's not all that good. Okay, so I had to play with it a little bit, but you can see that the angles are getting better. They're not perfect though. And I want this to be very nice. We're getting there. We're getting there. That's pretty darn good. I'm pleased with that. So now what you can see, I don't have traffic manager, so I can't get rid of that right-hand turn. No one's going to take that though. But what this allows is someone to get on and off the highway here And it's a fairly basic movement. In fact, they're already using this one inappropriately. It's kind of funny. So we're going to do the exact same thing over here. Okay, so I think that we've done a pretty good job here. Things are going to start moving appropriately. We need to get our power connection back over here so that we can get rid of this temporary line that we have. Eventually, anyway. We'll keep it for the time being. No harm in having that redundancy. I'll put it that way. There we go. A nice highway connection back here. We're leaving ourselves the ability to expand in the future. It's functioning appropriately. We are seeing a bit of wonkiness right here. People turning around. I don't know why they're doing that. It's probably just a weird path issue. And that'll resolve itself over time. But this opens up a couple of opportunities. If we needed to add services here in the future, we could always do something a little... like have a frontage road back here and add something back here. So that's one of the things I like about this as a solution. It doesn't help us much back here, but it does open this up. What I don't love is we have a signal here. This signal is backing things up rather arbitrarily. So we are going to modify that quickly. And truthfully, I bet this will operate just fine without a signal of any kind. So I want to speed this up and see what happens. From a traffic standpoint, we're at 81. So we have dropped quite a bit. Not surprising considering what's happening with this road. This is the problem with a lack of connectivity. So this will be our first step towards getting this fixed. So very heavy movements here as this clears out. We'll let this go for about 2 minutes. Okay, so things are bouncing between 80 and 82, so they're a little bit better. It's not, this is still a problem here. And one of the things that I'm wondering about, well, first of all, I think that this needs to be fixed, so we'll take care of this. We're just going to have to do a little bit of traffic management to get this working. I think this is the primary issue in the city at this point, this road. But I see there's a heavy left-hand movement, and if anyone needs to take a right, they're going to block this up too. So even though I don't love doing this, we might go ahead and upgrade this to an arterial just through this segment here. And this will allow us to have that left-hand turn movement. And I think it's going to help resolve some of this backup that we're seeing here because it's pretty extreme. The other thing, I'm curious if we have automated tolling through here. We do. So that's just a citywide policy. So that shouldn't be slowing things down here. But you see that people are backing up straight through the toll. So that's the lack of connectivity, and there's really not going to be. Might be one more connection through here, but I'm not certain that that's even going to be something that the Sterlings are okay with. So you see that there's just a ton of queuing here. It's backing up quite a ways. I don't know if this has helped though. Let's see. Consistent 83. So that's better. The next thing I'd like to take a look at would be this junction. Yep, no signal there. So it's not that. So this is it's better. It's still not perfect, but I don't know that we're ever going to see perfect here. So one thing we do need to take a look at is our trash collection. It looks like we're improving a bit. When I look around, wow, this is crazy. We still have lots of problems, and it's spreading throughout the entire city at this point. So that's not good. And I'm also seeing some other issues. It looks like we've missed a disaster or two. So why don't we just take a moment to repair some of this? So I think we've got most of the... No. I thought we had most of the park rebuilt. It looks like it's mostly fixed now. I do want to just pan around and see if there are any other areas where I'm seeing problems. I'm going to slow this down because at this point we're not being helped by that. So we have had some disasters, but I think that we've fixed most of the issues. If you guys see anything strange, let me know in the comments. Alright, so we're going to continue to try to resolve our garbage issue. And the way that we're going to do that, because I'm guessing if we come over here Yep, issues on our space campus. Up here. Wow. Oh, no, there are issues. We are going to build another garbage facility right here. You might be thinking, this is a wild... We're going to put it on the top of the hill? They're going to be able to see that. That's crazy. You shouldn't do that. Well, we're not going to. We're going to sink it into the hill and hopefully hide it from all of these neighbors. So this is a great chunk of property. I'm sure it's disappointing that it's going to be used in this way, but I think that we've got to balance aesthetics and needs, and that's the way that this community is going to view it as well. So what it's going to do is do some significant work. This is a high-end community, and you'd imagine that they're willing to spend whatever it takes to maintain their community's aesthetic. So this is going to be a fairly small facility, but we are going to just send it back through here, and we're going to start placing some of these buildings right away, because we're going to really need to work hard to incorporate this in. So I want to again have one recycling center, a waste transfer facility, and then the harder part is going to be getting one of these waste processing complexes back here. And let's see. Yeah, that's huge. I'm going to temporarily place that so that I can get an idea for what I need to do with the landscaping and the terraforming. You can see that our soil availability is definitely improving. So the idea would have been that they're digging this down and kind of pushing this back to create a flat campus back here. So that will be the start of our terraforming. We're going to be doing more, but I think it's important just to get this going for the time being. So there we go. This is the start of our campus. Let's get it operational while we finish the detailing and decorating back here. Okay, so this is going to be a very important facility. And you see that I've placed this just outside of our toll booth facility. This will hopefully provide access, trash collection for the NASA Space Center and for our radar up here and these neighborhoods. So these two facilities on either side will anchor and hopefully resolve all the issues that we're seeing in the city. So we are going to smooth some of this out, back it out, and try to make it feel a bit more natural. It's going to be very challenging. And I think that if you've ever dealt with some of these really steep cliffs, you know that yourself. So we're going to do what we can, but it's going to be a trick. So I'm going to take this down so that when I'm smoothing this, I don't inadvertently do a little bit more than I intended. You might be thinking to yourself, this looks very artificial. It is. And truthfully, a lot of waste processing complexes in general look pretty artificial. There's a lot that they're doing to keep this, clean and separate from everything sanitary, and try to capture some of those odors. This, I think, would actually do a pretty darn good job of keeping the odors in. Maybe directing them out to sea. And look at that view that you get if you are working here on your way home. What an excellent view. Like that. There's a bit of a bump here that I don't like. I probably should let it go. But I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to improve it slightly. It's a little better. Probably didn't really matter, but we're going with it. We're going to go with it. Okay, so I'm okay with this. I do think that we're going to do a couple of things here, though, to improve things. So the first thing that we're going to do is I want to get a bit of fencing along the rail. The main thing here is if a train were to go off, this would be pretty dangerous. So whatever we can do to improve that, we're going to do. Granted, this little fence isn't going to stop it. So maybe it's just more of a decoration. Now, I'm going to remove a lot of these trees through here because we're going to plant new trees. Okay, so the very first thing I want to do is I want to cover all of these really harsh edges with some of this greenery. Okay, and now I want to add some landscaping through here, and we're going to have some bigger trees through this area to try to keep some of what's happening in here in. So they're doing whatever they can to prevent you from seeing this. So next, we're going to try to make it feel tropical by having some landscaping around here that feels a little bit more Verde Beach. Maybe we'll even try to make this look interesting. So you might be thinking, boy, it seems like they're overcompensating. They absolutely are. This community wants to ensure that you're distracted from the fact that they actually have normal issues too. Like, you need to have trash collection. So they're going to put palm trees there. They're going to distract from the reality of the world. You need to be able to throw away your garbage. You need to recycle things. So as a result of that, it is the most elaborate and beautiful trash collection facility ever created. So I like the way this turned out. I think that makes the hillside look really lush. When you're coming down the road, you don't know that this looks super nice because there's a trash collection facility behind it and the city's trying to hide it. So then you come over here, it's clear. Let's see how this looks from different vantage points throughout the community though. I'm very curious about that. So let's say we're up here. You can kind of see it, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. If you're over here, let's say you're in this tower up here. You can see it. And maybe this is an area where we need, again, a bit more landscaping up on this ridge to prevent the views from being overwhelming. So this is without a doubt simply visually screening this. You can see that now we've basically eliminated the view of that facility for most of these buildings. Even if we are up here inside this building, we peek through, there we go. We can't see it, and that is exactly what they are hoping for. So if you're over here in this neighborhood, even though you have trash issues everywhere, you're unbothered by the view of this. You might not love that this is right here, but it's not a problem. You can't see it. You might see the smoke. Let's see how these are operating. I'm curious. So I've sped it up again because I really want this issue to resolve itself. Recycling center is empty. Good. So it's picking these up, bringing it back here. I just want to see. I am very concerned that we're going to start seeing ground pollution building up here. We don't have it yet, so I'm going to let this go for just a minute to see if we start to see a resolution to some of these garbage issues. Okay, and it appears that things are ever so slightly improving, but I have a couple more things I'm curious about. It's tough to see because this neighborhood's filling in as the situation with trash improves. We got decent land values. I'm wondering, for the city itself, the average land value is 58 there. It's probably pretty close to the rest of the city's value. Yeah, 59 is the city's overall value. So you see that this is, in terms of overall value, improving, which to me means that things are getting better. We've also added significant population. We've almost doubled the population in Sterling Estates. So this is getting to be a larger community, very exclusive, but still very large. And that's part of that is the trash collection issue resolving. So I do want to look at our policies. So we do have recycling, which is a relatively inexpensive policy. We have the other recycle plastics policy. I think we might actually apply this citywide. I'm going to need to keep an eye on this though, because this can be a very expensive policy. But the extra efficiency of those facilities will be very beneficial at this point in time. And at some point, you got to balance out the cost of these services and the benefit they provide to your city and what they can do to your tax revenues, because buildings are able to level up when they don't have trash everywhere. So it's a bit of a balancing act. The other thing that I'm wondering about that I haven't focused on in a long time is the repair of our roads, which gives you a boost. So I know that we're really diving into game mechanics at this point, but we don't have any coverage for road maintenance facilities over here. I don't think at all. Maybe one up here? Yeah. Fantastic roads up here. But our closest facility is over by the Lewis Lumber Company in the I-10 Industrial Park. And we used to focus on this. And then at some point I just stopped. So what you can see is that we've got not just poor coverage, but also poor quality roads. They're improving, but it's going to be a slow go, and they're never going to be great. Which is normal, but it's still a problem. So what I think we're going to do is, since Maggie Myrtle is being very, very pragmatic about her land over here, we're going to add a road maintenance facility over here as well. And we'll do a little bit of landscaping to cover this up. Again, it's a bit of a tricky spot. Yeah, this one I think I like a lot less. So even though I just moved that there, we're going to call a mulligan on it and relocate that over here. At least here we might be able to do some work to make it look a bit more reasonable. And it's still not perfect, but it's significantly better. And we can add some landscaping here to improve things. So there's more coming to this facility in the future, but for the time being, this is where we're going to, I think, leave this facility, at least for this episode. And all of this is going to be a significant help to the city. Obviously, I think everything that has been built in this episode has frustrated the residents of Sterling Estates, even if it's really been done for their benefit. It's things that are noxious in close proximity to them. Karen has no ability, short of just, leveraging her political clout and complaining a lot about some of the things that have been happening, but she doesn't own the land anymore. And that's one of the things. You sell your property and you lose the ability to control the types of users and uses that come into place. And then there are just areas that are outside of your property that you just, you can influence the process as best you can, but needs are needs. And some things the community just has to take care of. You can't not have garbage collection. You can't not have, road maintenance crews. You've got to facilitate those sorts of things. You've got to be able to meet the basic needs of the city. Wow, and this vanilla connection here is creating some issues. So this might be another area where maybe we need to continue this double track down a bit further, because we're seeing some problems. That's not a today thing. So let's take a look. Abandonment. Oh, actually fire. So no abandonment. I'm seeing fewer. No, I'm seeing many trash issues still. This is very frustrating. This is one of those issues that is not quick to resolve, even though our capacity at this point is through the roof. I don't want to overdo it, but part of me wants to add in one more waste transfer facility. I just don't know that it's going to help much. At this point, we've rebuilt interchanges. I think that we just need to be patient, which is probably the most difficult thing to be in this game. Things are improving, it's just slow. And how are we looking down here? Still bad. But you see collection occurring. We just have a problem that has built up for so long that it's going to take a while to resolve itself. At least our financial situation is improving over time, and that's a good thing, because this is the type of issue that could really tank a city if you let it go on for too long. And rightfully so. I wouldn't want to live in a garbage paradise, which is what Verde Beach is quickly becoming. So again, that ground pollution is always the issue that you can have with this. So I just want to look, and at least we're not getting so far beyond. When you get those red you come down and you see these trash collection things turn red, you can end up with ground pollution. So we don't have that. We do have a little spot without water. So I think we're going to leave it here for today. I am going to let this run a bit. Actually, before we leave it here, I'm going to let it run for about another 10 minutes to see if this resolves our issues with trash collection. And after that, I think we're going to end it. So let's just leave it on this view. We will see what happens. Okay, so things are improving. It is taking a long time. I think there's one thing that I've been reluctant to do that I might take care of. You see that we've got the thing about the trash problems is that they compound. So as you have a problem in one place, it spreads to others. And I think that we've created a lot of problems by the amount of density that we've had out here. Now we've got a lot of collection, but this is a long ways away. It's improving. It's slow to improve, but I need to be patient. So I think we're going to leave it here. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so and hit the notification icon if you want to be notified when I release new videos. Kind of like this one where I make fancy trash collection facilities. I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. They help me create this content and keep me motivated, and I appreciate them. And I want to thank you. Your likes, shares, and subscribes help grow the reach of the channel, and I appreciate that. I'm going to leave you with a brief city tour like I always do, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.